Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the American Safeguard Insurance Studio. Your host, Matt McJunkins and Matt Wilcox, with Thomas Thrash and Barry Grooms. Presented to you by Hootens.com, your source for Arkansas high school football. You are now Between the Mats. Welcome to Between the Mats. I am Matt McJunkins. Alongside me is Matty Stats Wilcox. How you doing, Matty?
I'm good, Junk.
And from Hootens.com, the Thomas Thrash. How you doing, Thomas?
I'm doing great. I just got back from Booneville, Arkansas.
Oh, Booneville.
We did a first community bank scholar athlete. We're finishing it up. We had two left, and we got one Peyton Tatum of Booneville this week.
Yeah,
and the quarterback, who's really good. And then we got Alan Thomason, the lineman from PA, is going to be next week. He had a 33 on the ACT, a 4.5, and he's a beast on the line.
Stud.
Very nice.
But hey, have y'all ever been to Booneville's it's Black Meat Diner? Was it?
Never been.
I'm going to be real
meat.
honest with you.
It's
I don't
awesome.
know that I've ever been to Booneville.
I've driven through it, but I don't know.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
They had, we ate there, and it was unbelievable.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Quick shout out to our sponsors. We are in the American Safeguard Insurance Studio, the place that feeds my family. So, insurance, call us.
That's right.
Matty at First Security Bank.
Yep.
You know, that feeds his family.
Absolutely.
Thomas apparently feeds his own family with Hootens.com. But shout out to Bleacher Bling.
Yes.
If you've got our Player of the Week shirts.
Oh,
Bleacher, yeah, they're really cool,
Yeah.
and that's not all our fault. Because LaDonna over at Bleacher Bling did an excellent job. Did she design it?
She designed it, and they sponsored half the shirts.
They sponsored half the shirts.
So, yeah.
That's why we get to say her name on here.
That's exactly right.
But and then also Varsity Coolers. Hey, logo coolers, logo growlers, and team logo cups, tumblers. Nobody does it.
What team are you going to go with on your logo?
On my logo? Mm-hmm. I'll be honest with you. Right now, I'm a little fired up for the Hornets from Mill Springs.
Yep.
I gotta be honest.
Big game this week.
Big game,
Yeah.
and I'm pumped. Although, Caleb Schock is a friend of mine.
Yeah.
I did go to school at Harding, so Bisons.
It's kind of put you in a bad spot.
The Bison's in my heart as well.
Yeah.
When I see the black and gold, I get excited. But then my heart's also with the green and gold. So I'm just going to be decked out in gold Friday night.
Stand in the middle of the field.
The best possible scenario would have been if Carlisle beat Hazen for Mineral. They're coming off a win like that. Now it may not be as good. They're going to be upset. They're going to be playing a little motivated.
Yeah, but the other side of that coin is I'm playing with Hazen in week 1.
That's true.
With Luke Clean playing 4 quarters. But so
Yeah.
So, but hey, it is playoff football.
Playoff football.
It is exciting. We got a ton of great matchups starting out of the gate. And this week, I'm fixed to turn it over to Matty Stats because he has flip-flopped the whole format of what we're going to do. I like it, but he's going to have to explain it.
Yeah, so we're going to switch it up a little bit this week. Instead of giving our top 10s like we do every week, we're just going to go through each classification and the brackets, talk a little bit about each matchup and some of the key matchups we see in the first round. And then after that, we're going to do our picks as usual. And then at the end of our picks, we're going to do our top 4, our final 4s for each classification.
And tell us why we're going to do the 4 after the picks.
Well, because we don't want to let anybody know who we're picking.
That
and Kevin.
And we wanted to let Kevin Bohannon in on it.
That's right. That's right.
Kevin said, he sent us a text, was like, hey, he's busy.
He's super busy.
Super busy. Yeah. He says, let me know before you start the picks. And I think he said 15 minutes before the picks and the final 4.
Is he winning the picks, by the way? Is he?
He's not winning the whole thing. He's won like 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
but he started off in Scudville, USA.
Yeah.
So he's still not in the lead.
I'm leading, I think, by 1. Am I up by 1?
You're up on me by 1.
Yeah.
Now you're up on me on the year by 4 or 5. 5, I think 5.
Okay, yeah. All right, so we'll start out with 2A
I'm
state
undefeated.
playoffs. Week 1, and so we'll go through the matchups, and then we'll kind of go back into what we think are going to be some of the best games this Friday night.
We going 2 or 7?
We're going to go 2.
All right.
And so before we get started, did you see the forecast for Friday?
It's supposed to be cold, son.
Football weather.
I love it.
Really?
Man. I love it.
Yes.
You know, my senior year, all 3 weeks we played in the playoffs, it rained and was about 40 degrees.
Ooh,
I prayed every day that it would not rain. Every day.
Well, let me tell you, it
'Cause I
did
could
when
not throw a wet ball.
we fumbled 5 or 6 times in that loss that Clarendon beat us by 8.
dang.
I mean, we had stat-wise, we ran all over their rear ends, and that was Cedric Houston senior year.
Yeah. If,
But-
if you asked him, it was a different story.
You know, Tank always had a different story too when I talked to him. But and by the way, when we were freshmen together in that locker room, our lockers were about 3 apart from each other. And every day when we walked in the locker room, Tank was like, "Hey Matt, remember when we beat y'all?" Every single day.
Speaking of Cedric, he's going to be at the. I think he's going to be at the Pocahontas game.
I heard that he was kind of talking and congratulating
Yes.
Connor for his
Well, I called him just to tell him his record's about to be broken, just to make
Good,
sure he knew.
good.
That was nice of
Yeah,
you.
and I said, you can ride with me if you want. And he's like, well, it was already too late because they moved the games up. Yeah.
Cedric Houston was one of those guys that everybody was so jealous of. He was one of those guys who just made you sick because. So I was, I really put a lot into throwing the shot put and discus. My best friend Jason did too. Like we really practiced it for months because we were state champions in track for 4 or 5, actually 6 years in a row. Me and him were on 3 of those teams, and we really put a lot of effort into it, right? And then we'd be in the state meet, and Cedric Houston would run over and take off his track spikes real quick, put some shit shoes on, and go throw and get 3rd place.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, just like he's just one of those guys. You're just like, man, I hate you. Like,
Right.
It's not even fair.
Yeah, you don't even have to try.
No,
Yeah.
well, it's like that guy. I forgot who it was last night. Manny Watkins was on last night calling the Hogs game. And he was talking about those big, tall 7-footers and even like the guys that are 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", who have 47-foot wingspans.
Right.
He's like, it's not even fun. Like it's not fair
Right.
that these guys are so gifted. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. That's like my roommate in college back when I played at Henderson. He was 6'5" and had a 48-inch vertical, and he would literally rather sit in the dorm room and draw cartoon characters,
Yeah,
than
and
shoot a basketball.
And it didn't matter what his vertical was because he could probably reach up flat-footed and grab the rim.
That's right. It was unreal.
Well, Cedric, the rumor is, and Cedric, in one of those games, it may have been Mineral Springs, where there's a truck driving down the road at Clarendon, and Cedric outruns him. Of course, it gets faster.
Oh yeah,
and
no, it
faster
wasn't that
every-
because we were the home team because we were higher seated.
Oh, okay. No, but it's funny that people tell that story all the time. They're like,
I
"Hey,
ran the truck.
outran
I ran the truck. Yeah.
All right, so first round in the 2A state playoffs. We'll start up at the top of the bracket. You've got the Bigelow Panthers, who were the 1 seed out of the 2A1 conference, will take on Earl, an Earl team that has won 5 in a row, playing some really good football. They come in 7-3 on the season, and they got the 4 seed out of the 2A2.
Well, let's just first start by taking a trip down memory lane to last year when Bigelow got absolutely hosed.
Oh, so
According to Bigelow.
I saw the
Yeah, but
whole
the play before, Bigelow fumbled and Hazen got it, and they gave it to Bigelow.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that.
So it depends. And I didn't need. I'm telling you what. This is what Hazen says. So it doesn't matter. Whoever's you're talking to has a different story.
yeah. I will say I did see the picture.
The picture, looked
everything.
bad. The
It was
picture he
bad.
in.
It was
but,
bad.
But the fumble before the play, for that was like they were like, it's our ball.
One thing I couldn't figure out is that they said that they showed the clock and there was still like 3 seconds
So if
left.
he stepped out of bounds, it should have been.
Another
Yeah,
play.
another play.
They're like, nah,
those
we're good.
guys absolutely
They butchered it.
poo-pooed. They
And
did.
we had 2 finalists from Bigelow, so we were expecting to get another game in. So we were going to go film them some more the next game.
Oh, man.
And then done.
Well, let me tell you this too, because we've kept up with Bigelow for this is the 4th year. Because for 3 years, that class that were sophomores that were so good that were seniors last year, they're gone.
They're gone.
So we all go into this year thinking, well, Bigelow's probably going to be down with because Bigelow hadn't been a powerhouse for 20 years or
No,
anything. Guess what? They're good. We may call them big and slow,
Is that what you call?
but the truth
Is
is,
that the Mineral Springs?
no, we don't. We didn't even know until I moved and went to college, and I didn't even know Bigelow was a town. If it's outside of Howard, maybe Hempstead, county, we don't even know what it is. But no, I mean, they've just silently just been kicking people's rear ends.
Yeah,
off.
they have.
They really have. All right below that, the winner of Bigelow and Earl will take on the Carlisle Bisons, who are the 2 seed out of the 4, and the Mineral Springs Junk Vegas Hornets, who come into the playoffs as the 3rd seed of the 3 at 7-3. This ought to be a heck of a ball game. And we talked about it a little bit before we got on air. And, Carlisle's a really good football team. They played Hazen really close last week. But I don't know that they've seen the speed that they're going to see Friday night.
It's a really unique scenario because you look at it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. As much as I love Mill Springs, you look at it in a lot of ways. You can say, man, Mill Springs is outclassed in this ball game.
Mm-hmm.
But you bring up a great point. There is no doubt that Carlisle has not seen the speed that they're fixing to see Friday night.
That's right.
And Mill Springs is one of those kind of like Magnolia. It don't matter if it's their 4th string, 5th string, or 6th string. They all run a 4-5, 4-4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you can get them in space.
That's exactly right.
And if
they had a freshman Friday night that ran a kickback for 90 yards.
Really?
For a touchdown.
Wow.
A freshman.
That's impressive.
Yeah, see, there's a lot of teams like that don't have no line, but they have all these athletes. And if you can get them in space, if you just block for half a second, they're gone.
They're trouble. Yeah.
Now, on the flip side of that, I think many people thought Carlisle was only going to lose by 8 points Friday night.
That's right. That's exactly right.
We did.
And that Jay Sullivan is a dude.
He's the real deal.
He's the real deal.
And it goes back to last year. He's an all-state running back on a team that won 1 game. You don't have any idea how hard that is.
Yeah.
And, the crazy thing is that you got 2 teams that are top 6, 7 teams in the state playing Friday night. Between the 2 of them won 1 game last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right, the bottom half of that side of the bracket, you've got Des Arc, the Eagles, who did they lose the first 3 ball games of the season?
They were bad the first 3 games.
Atrocious. They were bad, and they went to the wing tee.
Yeah, got drummed by Hazen
Right.
and Carlisle. Got blanked by both of them.
It wasn't even close.
No.
And then they went back to the old bread and butter.
The old flex bone.
The old flex bone, and it reeled off 6 straight wins.
Des Arc was our number 2 starting the season.
Yeah.
And then Spencer went to that Hazen game. He's like, I can't believe that. That was a huge mistake. And then now they're rolling, and they're playing well.
So they
I'll tell you, they've got potential to go a little ways.
No kidding.
They got the 1 out of the 2 conference, and they will take on Magazine, who end up 3-6 on the season.
That conference is tough.
And got the 4 seed out of the 1. And so
Is that where Clarendon was in? Clarendon missed the playoffs.
Yes.
The 5 seed.
Yes. That's tough. That's tough.
They fought. They were on the verge of 9 and 10 in the state all year long.
That's right. That's exactly right. And so they will take on the winner of Des Arc, and Magazine will take on the winner of Mount Ida, who gets the 2 out of the 3, and Episcopal, who gets the 3rd seed out of the 4. And so that Episcopal team ended up 7-3 on the season, which is a good record, but I don't really know how good they are.
When they played the big games, they got beat bad.
Yeah.
But they handled business. It's like they were the in-between.
Yeah.
They took care of the teams that weren't as good, not just barely beat them. They beat them bad.
Yeah.
But then when it came to some of the big boys, they couldn't hang.
Hazen, what was it? Blanked them.
Yeah.
Hazen defense, and I don't know how many they've allowed before the Carlisle game, but
It was
their
28.
team high was 12.
Yeah, they allowed 28 all season.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
All right, so on the other side of the bracket, the aforementioned Dirks is the 1st seed out of the 3, finished 9-1 on the season, and will take on the England Lions, who had a better year this year, ended up 5-5 and getting the 4 seed out of the 4 2A. Below them, the winner of that game will take on the winner of EPC, who finished 2nd in the 2 at 8-2 on the season. Will take on Hector, who finished 6-3, and Quitman.
Could be a good game right there.
Gaines, by the way, I think somebody sent me this.
400.
9 games, 200 yards rushing.
Yeah.
And in the 1 game he didn't had 177.
He's got 2,500, and they hadn't even started the playoffs yet.
That's incredible.
He ran for 400 yards Friday night.
Wow.
Really?
Yes.
That's unreal. All right, on the bottom.
I'm sorry to interrupt. 400 yards against one of the biggest, if not the biggest game they played this season.
Yeah.
Against Mark Trigg.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even think about that.
Yes.
That's impressive. So on the bottom side of that bracket is the
But
Hazen.
I told y'all, Mark Tree, the EPC was better. Did I not? Y'all were like, no.
They were that night. I'm telling you, all those teams, play them 10 times, it's 5-5.
Hazen is the 1st seed out of the 4 and finished 9-0 undefeated on the season, even though they did get a scare from Carlisle last week. They will take on Poe and the Indians, who finished the 4 seed out of the 3. And then we got Conway Christian as the 2 seed out of the Conference 1, finished 7-3 on the season, and will take on the Mark Tree team, who finished 3rd in the 2.
I consider you more knowledgeable in the whole Conway Christian stuff.
Sure.
That got potential to be a game.
I will say this about Conway Christian: they're extremely young.
Yeah.
Extremely young. That 10th grade class is legit. They've got a lot of really good
winning
players.
For the first time in a long time.
Yes. I mean, they've won 3 ball games in the last 3 years combined.
Right.
And so to turn around and win 7, I think youth is going to get them in this game. I think it'll be close, but I think Mark Tree will pull away.
I think so.
I do. But watch out for them in the next couple of years.
Oh, absolutely. I love what they're doing over there.
Yeah, Coach Kramer's a heck of a guy. All right, so any matchups that just jump out at you that we hadn't really gone over?
No, we've probably spent too much time on 2A, but, man, I'm excited.
No, you can't do it.
I'm excited, man. I love it.
Hey, I saw Luke King at the Top Gun Award.
Yeah.
And I'm walking in there, and I see this assistant coach, and I said, hey, Coach, where's Coach Sankin? And then I walk out there, and then this guy walks back, and I was like, hey, where's Luke? And he's like, that was him. As it looked like it's just full beard. I swear.
So there wasn't like a glow around him?
No. Yeah, I mean there was, but I just assumed he walked me out.
You thought he was a grown man?
No, I thought he was coach. Yeah. I did not. And I mean, grown man, full beard. I was like, that's him.
That's like what's his name? Last year at Green Bay. Yeah, Nick Hewitt had a beard when he was about 12.
Yeah. No doubt. All right, so into the 3A playoffs we go. First round, we got a lot to go through on this one. There's a lot more teams.
Keep it brief.
Yeah, so Glen Rose and Rising.
Go Prescott.
Glen Rose and Rising get the bye as the first round. On the Glen Rose side of the bracket, you got Fordyce taking on Mansfield. That winner will take on Glen Rose in the second round. Melbourne at Jessieville at Melbourne, and then you've got Greenland at Falk. And those two will play the winners in the second round. And then you have Osceola, who is the first out of the 3, will play Perryville, and Camden Harmony Grove will take on Corning. And then at the bottom of the bracket, you have Smackover will take on Barton.
My favorite game of the whole first round.
That'll be a good one there.
Smackover Barton?
Yes.
Yeah. And then the winner of that one will take on Boonville and Junction City. And typically before this year, that would be a really good matchup.
Oh, it would have been huge. Let me tell you, Junction City is going to have a long drive.
Hey, but they are playing better now.
Yeah.
Like they've improved a lot over their last. I mean, they've had competitive games.
Sure.
Gabe Carpenter's got back and
So any of those matchups, since we ran through them pretty quick, that jump out at you?
Well,
on
I love the smack over Barton.
Yeah,
I do.
Falk and Greenland.
That'll be the closest.
That ought to be a pretty close ball game there. All right, on the other side of the bracket, you have, like I said, Rising getting the bye, so they will play the winner of Bismarck and Manila, and then below that you have Prescott and Drew Central, and then Salem will take on Walnut Ridge, and then the bottom side of this bracket you have Charleston will take on Gurdon, and that ought to be a little bit of an interesting ball game. I think Hootens has that as the game of the week this week. In 3A, and then Center Point at Lavaca, and Newport will take on Magnet Cove, and then Hoxie will take on Quitman.
So Quitman could be a good game.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You know,
Hoxie's
Center
huge.
Point Lavaca is a good matchup. I wanted to say this real quick about Greenland, something that just came to my mind. My freshman year, I moved up ninth grade, and we went and played Greenland. And we never heard of Greenland. They're way up there on the other side of the state. But, we were supposed to just go in there and just, beat them by 40.
Mm-hmm.
And for one thing I'll never forget is we stopped at a buffet on the way. And, of course, everybody just ate and ate. And Rodney Woodruff ran the opening kickoff back and ran out of the end zone and threw.
Nice.
But have you been up there lately? They've got new turf. They got a new press box. New stands. I mean, it's top first class. I mean,
but they did not lay down. I mean, it was closer than it should have been. Just because they came and hit you every single play.
Coach, how long has Coach Larkin been up there? He's been there for a long time.
Wow, gosh.
Yeah.
And his cousin helps us distribute books.
Really?
From Hazen. He distributes Hazen and Lance Larkin.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, so any other matchups? I think the Bismarck-Manila game will be a good game. Salem-Walnut Ridge,
I can't believe I hate it for Rising and Prescott. They're in the quarters.
And Charleston is on the same side of the bracket, too.
Hey,
that's going to be a fun bracket.
You're going to be shocked, Thomas, when you hear my Final Four and then finals.
Well, okay.
You're going to be blown away.
A little teaser there from Junk.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, so the 4A state playoffs, round one, we'll blow through these pretty quick as well. Harding Academy finished 9-0 in the season. They will get a bye first round, and Elkins finished 9-1, will get a bye. So on the side of Harding Academy, they will play the winner of Gravette and DeWitt, which to me is a very intriguing matchup. I think that will be a good ball game there. And then you've got Haskell Harmony Grove, who was the first in the 4, will take on Bald Knob. The winner of that will take on Gosnell and McGee. I think Gosnell and McGee will be a heck of a ball game. Mm-hmm. That one there should be, McGee finished 6-2. The only losses coming to Star City and Warren. And then you've got Gosnell, who finished 8-2, and their only losses were to Pocahontas and Rivercrest.
Yeah. So Rivercrest is only their 3 losses were to like Little Rock Mills.
Yeah. Let me tell you, Rivercrest is my sleeper.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're always physical. They're fast. They're a team.
So the bottom side of that side of the bracket, you've got Arkadelphia, who finished 8-0, who's been our number 1 in 4A all year long. They will take on the Yellow Jackets from Clinton.
I think they solidified that Saturday.
Yeah, there was no question.
It was close.
Yeah.
Till
the game started.
Man, that was – and Daryl was there, my buddy that films for us. He said it was the best atmosphere for the first 30 minutes.
See Dusty's backup?
He's actually better than Dusty, but Dusty's now moving closer.
So
Dusty,
is he 4 now?
I'm going to review Dusty's film from Friday night. He said it's his best game ever. He filmed the
So
Carlisle.
you have said he's better, but you hadn't filmed it. You hadn't reviewed it yet.
No, Dusty.
You're just taking his word for it.
I haven't ranked him yet. But Dusty's Boonville Charleston game is so bad. You can. I left the touchdown in there where he's on the phone with me.
Yeah.
And you can see you can't see the runner, but you can see the field. And he's like, yeah, no, it's the second quarter. And then I left it in there because it's too funny.
Yeah.
I wanted to show him.
Well, has he made you throw up yet watching it?
No,
like
not yet.
from shaking so much?
No, because he's normally been so wide. His first game at Greenbrier, you could see the moon in the parking lot. And I was like, Dusty, that was the worst. I'm going to make at the banquet, I'm going to make sure everyone sees his first.
If you can see Spring Hill Elementary, you really.
We're going to have a power ranking of our filmers. But Dusty is moving up because he does try. So
I love it. All right, so Arkadelphia will play the winner of Ozark and Mena in the second round there. Then you have Rivercrest, who Junk mentioned earlier, is his sleeper. They are the second seed out of the 3, and they will take on Gentry, who was up at the top of the rankings for a lot of the year and then lost a couple there coming towards the end of the season. They will take on Gentry, who's the 4th out of the 1. And then the winner of that will take on Star City and Truman. So that'll be all for that side.
Yeah.
And then on the Elkins side of the bracket, they will play the winner of probably the best matchup to me in 4A in the first round is Lone Oak and Ashdown.
that is going to be a game.
I think it's going to be a real good game.
Lone Oak and Nashville last week, we really didn't know how to pick that one, and it turned out to be true because it was a 1-point ball game.
And Nashville slipped past Ashdown. Game that I kind of pick Nashville. I'm kind of Nashville favorite a lot of times. But I would say if they played that game 10 times, Nashville would be lucky to win 5 of them.
Sure. Then you have Pocahontas, who's the first seed out of the 3, will play Lincoln. And then the winner of that game will play Bauxite and Nashville.
And this Pocahontas game mentioned, this is a record-breaking game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's right. This is the one.
This is the game. If he doesn't do it now, they won't win. Because he needs 1 to tie it, 1 rushing touchdown, and 1 to break it. And so Cedric Houston asked me if I was going. I was like, I've been the last 3 weeks. I can't keep going because he was 3 away from last game, and then it was Highland. They put 10 in the box. They were like, we don't care if you pass for 10 touchdowns. You're not rushing those.
We're not going to be in the record
book.
book.
They threw 2 touchdown passes and it ran for 2, and then another guy ran for 1. And then at halftime, it's 35-0, and he's over there drinking hot chocolate. Right. And I'm sitting there just, like, okay. Yeah. I missed my 20-year reunion. I told him, I said, because you didn't pass it. Because you passed the ball. Yeah.
So box out in Nashville, that'll be an interesting ball game.
It is interesting, especially after
physical.
box out just knocked off. No, Center Point ended up beating them, didn't they?
No,
Haskell.
No, Haskell.
Harmony Grove.
Haskell. Yeah, it was Bismarck that Center Point barely beat. Haskell.
Yeah. 14-7, I think it was.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah.
But
box out's physical, and it's they're a good team. They're
Nashville's come along very well.
Yeah.
Yes, they didn't play well early in the season.
No, and they still, I'll be flat out honest, they're still not good defensively.
Yeah.
No.
But they do have some weapons.
And I don't think box out is dynamic offensively.
Right.
Yeah, but they play hard.
Do they still run the option?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I watched them against Mills, and then when they got in a fight and they canceled the game at the scrimmage, they were holding their own. I'm not gonna lie, it was a good fight.
In the fight? In the fight?
And they're like literally, and the refs was like,
Well, bunch of coal miners. What do you expect?
Exactly. No, they were physical. I was like, oh, this is good. This is good. All right. He won some of that guy.
All right, so the bottom side of that bracket, you have Warren, the Lumberjacks, no stranger to the number 1 seed. They will take on Blytheville.
This is a game that I think you need to watch.
Yeah, Blytheville has some athletes.
Blytheville's played a lot of good teams close.
Yep, they sure have. And then they will take on the winner of Stuttgart and Crossit, and looks like if everything goes to chalk, you'll have a rematch of the first week of the season.
I was at that game, and it was an awesome game. And both teams played terrible. I mean, like literally, I don't know if they completed
early
one
season.
pass.
Yeah,
Both good defenses.
Yeah,
it's just ugly.
The quarterbacks. Stuttgart's quarterback was out, so they had a sophomore coming in who was a receiver. I think it's Deontay Clark, who rushed for like 200 yards as a sophomore. Right? He was unbelievable, and like a player.
Wow. All right, and then you have Lamar, who gets the 2nd seed out of the 4, finished 8-2 on the season, will take on Riverview, and then the winner of that game will play the winner of Malvern and Pottsville.
Hey, what's going to be interesting too is if the winner of Ashdown Lonoke, especially if Lonoke wins week 2 against Elkins.
Yeah,
because you're going to have two pass happy, good quarterbacks.
Right. It'd be a fun matchup.
Did we mention the Greenwood connection yet?
He's the other one we could never remember.
Oh yeah, Dean.
He's the one at Elkins.
Oh yeah.
But the Greenwood or Green
Land
quarterback was 1 too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I think
maybe.
Dusty.
Here we go. We don't know again. We're back to where we were.
Freaking Dusty.
All right, so into 5A we go, and this
I've got a sleeper here too.
I'm telling you right now, this is the funnest. This could be the funnest bracket of all of them to me, because the first round there's some really, really good matchups,
especially since Mills is still in.
Yes.
Well, every one of these teams has been in our top 10 at some point this year.
That's right. All right, so starting it off, you have Robinson, who got the 1 seed out of the Central, will take on a Magnolia team who finished 7-3 and got the 4 seed out of the South. And I do believe, Thomas, if I'm not mistaken, that Robinson's getting their running back back.
Maybe, yes. And so I think that is a possibility. I don't know if it's this week. I'm going to have to call and ask. But, he will be back.
They better.
Players. And he could be a finalist for, the Farm Bureau Awards. I mean, he's that good.
Yeah.
And, I mean, is he going to be full string?
I might be completely wrong, guys, but I happen to think the South is
they're strong
this year.
And Magnolia,
I think the West is real strong.
Well,
yes.
But I think that the East is not as strong, and I think the South is.
Well, we just, we saw it personally, what kind of, and PA's seen it too, what kind of a challenge Magnolia presents with that flex bone. Like, you don't see it much, especially at 5A level. You don't see it much all year.
And the teams. All right, so Robinson's played some teams like your Mortons and that have a lot of speed, but they haven't seen the speed that they're going to see Friday night.
Curry can fly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So the winner of that game will take on Prairie Grove, who ended up in a 3-way tie in the West, that ended up getting a 2nd seed because of tiebreak points. Will take on Batesville, who is the 3rd seed out of the East. Both teams 7-3.
Prairie Grove is my sleeper.
Yeah, they're good.
They've lost 2 games.
They're a good team.
The first one, they were pushing Shiloh into the 4th quarter. Second one, Farmington beat them by 1 Friday night.
They were up by 80 though, and then I turned the live stream off, and then it was like 40. 42-14. I turn it off, and then I see the score. I'm like 42-41. Like, it was the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah, you talking about Farmington was up by Yes, they were. They were up by a lot.
So you get that in week 10. They start putting in coast, and then just crazy things happen. Yeah. But they are very, very good.
That happened to Greenbrier. Was it Cooper's? Yeah, it was Cooper's junior year. We played Brooklyn first round, and they literally brought like 35 kids, and a lot of them were ninth graders because they just had so many injured and everything else.
Oh yeah,
and we jumped
that was
out
last.
on
No, that was last year, wasn't it?
No, it was the year before.
No, 2 years ago. Yeah, first week.
We jumped out on them like 35, and so we started putting kids in. Next thing
they
you know,
hadn't got the mercy rule because it's not the second half.
That's right.
They had so many kids that got COVID
That's what it was.
that they had ninth graders playing.
We did that to McClellan, PA. We got up 35 in the first half, and then we put our subs in, and then McClellan comes back and makes a 6-point game. Luckily, the clock was running. It was just when Lane Hatcher was there.
Yeah, and
we ended up playing McClellan again later in the state championship, and we beat them at the end. But it was a great game. Like they got all the momentum, and it's like it demoralized us. We were like, we can't stop them.
Sure.
It was funny that game because it was like nobody told these ninth graders they were supposed to lose.
That's right.
And they just came out. They didn't care.
They didn't care.
They got a free meal, a bus ride, and got to play football an extra game.
Yeah. So it comes down to like they get it within 14, and we've still got our subs in there. They score again to get it within like 7, and we turn the ball over before we get our starters back in there. And so everybody's freaking out at this point, like, oh my gosh, we're fixing to lose this game.
So let me tell you what I did this year in Pee Wee, right? So same deal. We played 3 tough weeks in a row. The 3 biggest games we play all year during the season, back to back to back. So there ain't a lot of kids subbing in.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of kids getting a lot of playing time. So we get up on a team that we played twice last year and just beat them, and we're up 12-0. Quick. So it's like, all right, we're fixing to play a bunch of subs, get these kids some playing time, keep mom and daddy happy.
Right.
But the subs in. And it ain't automatic like next play score. Like they drive down and I'm looking at the guy, my other defensive guy out there with me, Mark. I'm like, hey, it's fine. They're going to score. No problem, right?
Yeah.
We get the ball after they score, and we can't move the ball, and we lose. I think it was a turnover or something. So come back on the field with my starters, miss 5 tackles on one play. They score. We don't score another point, and they beat us 13-12.
Oh, my word.
To tell you that McClellan, this is a funny story. Around the next year we play them, and we were playing so bad. It was Hunter Henry's senior year, I guess, and we sucked. And Kelly takes out, he says, everybody on offense, first team offense, off. He says, everybody on the second team. They go in there and throw a pick 6. And he starts yelling at it was Will Heffley. And he yells, y'all are worse than the first team. And I remember that no one else got how funny that was.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at
the irony behind it.
He said, y'all are even worse than the first team. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the point.
That's kind of why they're the second team.
It was too emotional. He would have killed me if I said something like that at the time. But he said, first team, you're back in. God, y'all second team, y'all are terrible.
All right, so the bottom half of that bracket, we have Parkview, the team that we've had at the top of the 5A standings all season. They would get the first seed out of the South, and we'll take on Morrilton, who gets the 4th seed out of the Central.
Well, I really thought Fairview was going to pull that off last week, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
No.
But I did hear Fairview got inside the red zone like 3 times and didn't
Couldn't
score.
punch it.
Yeah.
Parkview is so big and fast on defense.
Yeah, but you look at Magnolia played them tight. 2 scores. Hot Springs paid them like 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, but I mean they play they're up and down. I mean,
yeah.
But if you can get them in 3rd and long, you can play with them. Mm-hmm. But if you keep them in front of the chains, like if it's 2nd and 5, you don't have a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, because the craziest part about it is their best players are sophomores.
Is that right? And then the winner of that game will take on, I think this one's going to be a great ball game. The Yellow Jackets get the 2nd seed out of the East and play Harrison, who gets the 3rd seed out of the West.
I don't know how you picked this.
That's a tough one. I've got it blank. I don't even have it picked yet.
I'm going to take, it's hard to know how good Harrison is.
I know. They got beat early in the season by Batesville.
But then they drum rolled Alma.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's like,
I mean, then everybody else did. That was pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, but then they beat Farmington. I guess was that the injury game
Yes.
when he got
So he gets hurt in that game and they beat Farmington.
Yeah.
and
21-14.
and Harrison though has been a top team for so long, so many 5 or 6 years in a row. They've been so good. Like they know. I mean, I don't know if I would have picked against them in losing the first round because last year at PA they were the 4 seed and they had them. It's a 7-point game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And
they react to speed well. You know, last year they shut out Magnolia first.
you're
game of the season.
one-dimensional-
and Harrison wasn't that good last
No,
year.
they weren't.
No, they weren't, but they were physical and
That's it.
And then on the other side of the bracket, you got Valley View, who gets the 1 seed out of the East, finishing 8-2 on the season. We'll play the 4 seed out of the West, which is Farmington, and the best 4 seed in the state.
That's a tough break for.
It's a
for
tough
Valley
draw.
View.
Yeah, it's a tough draw there. And then the winner of that game will take on Camden Fairview, who gets the 2 out of the South, against Valonia, who gets the 3rd out of the Central.
Yeah,
I want to say
think
this
Farmington, if they beat Valley View, they beat Camden Fairview, and then or Bologna. I think so.
Well, I just always go back to that Magnolia win game. That's what I kind of base the 2 conferences on. Magnolia just destroyed Wynn.
He's talking about Farmington.
Yeah, I'm talking about
If
Farmington.
Farmington
Beats
Valley
Valley
View.
View.
Oh,
they
yeah.
beat the next game. The next game, you want Camden Fairview is what I'm. Farmington matches up well with them.
Well, and I was going to go back and say you're talking about the tough draw there for Valley View.
That's
But I'll say this.
They're-
If you're the one in your conference, you better be able to beat the 4 in anybody else's conference. So you don't have any room to complain.
Sure. And I will say,
Greenbrier last year.
Hey, I'm going to tell you. We pulled it off, but I'm going to tell you. Woo,
That was a if
that's the closest game we had.
if the
until semis.
quarterback doesn't throw the ball into traffic on 1st and 10
that's right.
and 1st and goal,
Yeah.
then that's a different
No
because they were
doubt.
down 3.
Yeah.
It was like they're in field goal range.
Yeah. It was crazy. And so, huge shout out to Valonia. Had a good season this year.
Yeah.
You know, moving into that Central Conference it was tough. They lost the first 3 ball games of the season.
They're the only team in this whole bracket that wasn't in our top 10.
Yeah.
And they finished 3rd.
Yeah. The only
They
losses. Only
I
losses
like
down
to
the
see
stretch.
y'all talking nice about Valonia being Greenbrier guys.
Well, it's because we beat them this year.
okay. If y'all didn't though, it would
Oh,
be
no, sorry. I can't believe they're here.
I wouldn't even have mentioned it. All right, so then you got Shiloh Christian, who is the 1 seed out of the West, moving up a classification and never missed a beat. They finished 9-1 on the season. We'll take on Nettleton, who is the 4 out of the East, and then the winner of that will play Mills, who has finished 9-1 and got 2nd in the Central, and we'll take on a third seed Hot Springs
Shiloh
team.
will be the game.
I think this game right here is going to be the
I think
best
it's going to be a good
best first round.
I'm talking about next round. Mills,
Yeah.
Shiloh in the second round.
If Mills gets there.
one. Yeah, be a good one. I think it'll be a good one.
Hot Springs is better than people think.
Yeah.
They know they are. That is for sure. Yes.
So I think that 5A is going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. So 6A we go. All right. So we got several teams that get a bye in 6A because there are only 12 teams that make the playoffs. So Greenwood, Little Rock Catholic, Benton, and Pulaski Academy all get the week off. And so first round, the winner of West Memphis, who's the 4th seed out of the East, will play Russellville, the 5th seed out of the West. And the winner of that one gets Greenwood. And then at the bottom of that bracket, Benton awaits the winner of Lake Hamilton and Searcy. And then on the other side of the bracket, you have Little Rock Catholic, who finished 10-0 on the season. What a year for the was it Comets or the Rockets? The Rockets. 10-0 on the season, so big shout-out to them. They're the only team in 6A went undefeated this season, and so big shout-out to them.
And they don't get any love.
No.
No love.
Not at all. And they will play the winner of Little Rock Christian, who is the 4th out of the West, and El Dorado, who's playing better as the season went along. The defending champ, El Dorado Wildcats.
Yeah, that's true. Benton's playing really well right now.
Yeah.
They've played a lot better the last 3 or 4 games. I think PA got the easy bracket. I'd say the easy side. The best route to the finals.
I agree with that.
Because, you got Benton, Lake Hamilton, and Greenwood all on that side.
That's right.
And we just don't know about Catholic. They're playing,
They haven't played anybody on the West, so
no, so you don't know.
You don't really know.
And Lake Hamilton's just playing so well.
Yeah.
And Crutchmeyer is
he's a stud.
He's a beast.
He's the best football player I got to see personally this year.
See, I'm going to see him. I'm going to see him.
Can
Friday.
Searcy make that a game?
No. No, I'm just kidding. I don't
Yeah.
know. They can, yeah. I mean, because D.D. Johnson's amazing.
Yeah.
And, they can. I mean, they're.
I think styles match up real well.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. That's their weakness would be speed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could be interesting.
And then on the bottom side, we got PA, who awaits the winner of Marion, who finished 7-3 on the season, will take on Mountain Home, who got the last seed in the West.
My next question, can that be a game?
Marion.
Mountain Home in the last 2 weeks has
They've
really
been playing well,
put
yes.
together.
I just think Marion's got too many weapons.
It depends on if they're ready for basketball season. That's the
true.
only issue.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Because they know it's going to end in 2 weeks, so why not end it now?
That's right.
But Marion has the ability, though. Like, they have the athletic ability to play with PA.
So, like last year, nobody thought Marion was going to do anything.
I know,
And
yeah.
Who'd they knock off first round? Was it Benton?
Benton, and then they lost to El Dorado at El Dorado, but it was a good game.
Yeah.
I mean, but Marion has more speed than
Yeah.
most teams.
I watched them play against Sheridan this year, and they're pretty impressive.
Yeah.
7A state playoffs. So we had a good one Saturday night. If anybody got to tune into that one, you got to see some of the premier football in the state of Arkansas between Bryant and Conway. Bryant ended up winning that ball game and getting the first seed in the Central. They finished 9-0, and I think their streak is up to 51 in-state
51 games.
Yeah.
And they are not as good. Like, they didn't play well all season, really. They didn't play well against Cabot. They played okay at North Little Rock. Didn't play well.
They're still pretty solid
Their
defensively.
defensively is unbelievable,
Yeah.
but their offense is a sophomore quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So just imagine 2 years from now.
That's right.
Like, if they win it this year, they're going to be stopped next 2 years.
That's true. So Bryant will take on the winner of Rogers, who gets the 4th seed out of the West, and Northside. Rogers had a good year, 8-2 on the season, so really good year for Rogers. And then the bottom of that bracket, Fayetteville awaits the winner of Conway and Harbor. And so Conway finished at 8-2 and gets the 3rd seed. Harbor 2-8 on the season. On the other side of the bracket, you have Bentonville, who's the 1 seed out of the West, and they will take on the winner of North Little Rock and Southside. And then Cabot awaits the winner of Bentonville West and Jonesboro. So I think, especially first round, there's really not any matchups here that just jump out at you that are going to be good games.
Not anything close,
Not-
really.
It's all the lower brackets, the lower classification where the good games are.
I think Northside and Rogers could be an interesting ball game just because Northside's so physical. It's just a different style of ball that Rogers is used to playing against. So that one's about the only one I could see being a ball game.
It could get pretty good and quick, though.
Yeah, that's
Second round, it starts heating up.
That's right. All right, so that'll get us.
Because everyone goes to the playoffs in 7A. I mean, Jonesboro's in there. They beat Southwest and Central.
So Southwest and Central are the two that didn't, right?
Yeah, why not just
Let them all go.
let them all go?
I mean, Harbor,
if you're going to let 6 or 7 of the 9 go.
Harbor's 2-8 and they're in the
well,
playoffs.
I saw that.
Well, so is Jonesboro.
Jonesboro's won one game
No, they've won 2. They beat Central and Southwest.
Yeah.
somewhere. Who was
But
it?
it just
Is it
it makes
Riverview
it,
that
it
won
makes
one game?
it so
It's in
bad.
there. There's a couple that are like that. No.
It's pretty bad. All right, so we got Cabo with us.
I believe he's on.
I've gotta go.
Kevin, you there?
Thank you, my man.
You gonna leave now?
Yeah, I gotta go. I got a babysitter.
Well, get out of here. I think Kevin's on with us. He might be doing some push-ups or something.
Got him turned up over there.
I got him turned up. Well, he might be.
I'm here.
Hey, there he is. Did you get your push-ups in? At 98,
last thing I'm
98,
doing.
98, 99, 100. Okay, guys, let's do this.
All right. So Kevin, we just kind of ran through all the matchups in every classification, and now we're going to do our picks for the week. And then after our picks, we're going to all give our final 4 for each classification.
Kevin, and you're not going to be for that? We're going to give our
Yeah, I'll
final
be here for
fours?
that. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I'm talking to Tom. Thomas is leaving. All
Okay.
right. All right. Well, before you leave, I want you to look at my final 4 in
I saw Pocahontas in there earlier. I was jacked.
No. That wasn't the one I'm talking about. That's not either. It's 3. Oh, yeah, 3A. Look at my final 4 right there and look at my finals. All right, Maddie. Go ahead.
So week 1 playoffs. We're going to pick 30 games this week, just because there's so many games and some good ones. I'll go ahead and give you the standings so far, the cumulative standings. Even though Cabo won his fourth week in a row, is that right?
The champ is here. The champ is here.
Did you say something about one for the thumb next week?
That's right. One for the thumb. That's what Kelly said.
That is
when they were
pure
going for number 5 at PA.
pure arrogance. That's all that is.
So Matty Stats is in the lead with 103 out of 150. Junk Vegas at 102. Cabo at 101, and then Dusty bringing up the rear at 99. So it's a close race here, boys.
Yeah, it's real close.
Close race. All right, so first game we will talk about this week is Earl at Bigelow. I think this is going to be an interesting matchup. The same thing here. I think Earl's got some speed that Bigelow has not seen yet.
They've been over there. Earl's been over there just upsetting people all year.
They have. Coming in with 5-game win streak. I've got the Panthers in this one by 3.
I got Bigelow by 14.
I go Bigelow by 10.
All right, and then Dusty.
Dusty had Bigelow by 7.
Right.
You say 13, Matt?
I said 3.
3. Oh, you have it close.
I do. And then number 2, Mineral Springs. The Hornets will travel to Carlisle to take on the Bisons. I know which way Junk's going in this one.
Well, I pick them apart. I'm not going to lie.
I'm going to go with Carlisle by 7.
I'm going with Mineral by 1.
I got Carlisle by 21.
Ouch.
And Dusty's got Mineral Springs by 6.
All right, so a little split decision there. Number 3, Episcopal at Mount Ida. I've got Mount Ida by 13.
I got Mount Ida by 17.
Yeah, I got Mount Ida by 14.
And Dusty by 7.
Number 4, Hector at EPC, East Poinsett County. I've got EPC by 10.
I've got Dennis Gaines by 9.
So it's funny. We were looking at today, 25-83 on the year.
Isn't that
9
crazy?
out of 10 games he's rushed for 200 yards.
And he hadn't even hit the playoffs yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the game he didn't get 200 yards, he was 177.
And the crazy thing about it is his 400-yard game Friday night was against the biggest game they played this year.
Yeah, crazy. So
he's a machine.
I'm right. I'm riding EPC by 23.
Dusty's got EPC by 7.
All right. Number 5, Mark Tree at Conway Christian. We talked about this game a little bit earlier, Kevin. I think Conway Christian, their youth is going to get them a little bit in this game. I think they'll keep it close, but I think Mark Tree pulls it out at the end. I've got Mark Tree by 6.
I got Mark Tree by 6.
Yeah, I agree with you guys on this one. Conway Christian, they're a year or 2 away. I got Mark Tree by 7.
And Dusty by 10.
All right. Number 6, Greenland at Falk. I've got Greenland by 12.
I have Greenland by 3.
Yeah, Greenland by a touchdown.
And Dusty Greenland by 14.
All right. Number 7, Barton at Smackover. And dadgummit, I should have went with my –
Yeah, you didn't take him on a second date.
I know it.
You won and done.
Wouldn't hold my hand, man.
This is my favorite game, maybe of the whole week, but definitely my favorite game in 3A.
I'm going Barton by 10.
I went Barton by 7.
I got Barton by 4.
And Dusty has Barton by 6.
Right. Number 8, Manila at Bismarck. I've got Bismarck in this one by 12.
I've got Bismarck by 14.
I got Bismarck by 21.
So does Dusty.
Right. Number 9, Walnut Ridge and Salem. This is a rematch from earlier in the season where Walnut Ridge, I believe, got them by 2 points, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I've got Walnut Ridge by 7.
I also want to add, though, that Walnut Ridge lost to Hoxie by 7 Friday night.
They did.
I've got Walnut Ridge by 7. How much did you pick them up?
7.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I got Walnut Ridge by 10. I think the running game too much for Salem.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Dusty's a witch because he's going with Salem by 3.
He's on the island.
Yeah, he's on Salem Island.
Yeah.
He's riding a broomstick. All right, number 10, Lavaca at Center Point. I think this will be a little bit better game than what a lot of people think.
I think so, too.
I do have Center Point by 3, though.
I'm going with Lavaca by 3.
Yeah, I'm going Center Point by 5.
Dusty's got Center Point by 14.
So Junk is on the Lavaca Island.
You know,
I like it.
Center Point played about 2 games.
It's Golden Arrow Cove.
That's right. You know, Center Point's schedule wasn't very tough this year, and when they came up against the good and didn't turn out very well.
Number 11, Magnet Cove at Newport. I've got Newport by 17.
I have Newport by 12.
Well, considering we've had the injury and ancillary outages of the Newport roster this week, I went Newport by 8.
Yeah. I think they still get it done, but I'm like, I don't think it would be like it would if had that not happened. Dusty's got them by 11.
Okay. Number 12, Quitman at Hoxie. I've got Hoxie's defense. I think it's just going to be too much for Quitman here. I've got Hoxie by 7.
Yeah, DJ, I'm pulling for you, but I'm going to have to go Hoxie by 17.
Yeah, this is the one that's kind of an enigma to me because I know how good Quitman can be, but I also saw them against Salem and how bad they were. Turning the ball over and just should have won the game. So Hoxie, they got beat by O'Steele, but I think the defense, like y'all said, is too good. I got Hoxie by 6.
And Dusty has them by 8.
All right. Number 13, Gravett at DeWitt. I think this is going to be a really good ball game here. I didn't really know which way to go, but I am going with DeWitt by 3.
See, all right, let me tell you what Dusty says, because I've got – you said DeWitt by 3?
Yeah.
I have DeWitt by 3 also. But go ahead, Kevin. What's yours?
Okay. I got Gravett by 10. I like Rhett up there at quarterback. Gravett, if the drive doesn't kill them, I think they can beat DeWitt.
Okay, well, Dusty's got Gravett by 7, and here's what he says. I don't think that DeWitt will like the cold at Gravett. It's supposed to be 40 degrees. I said, so Gravett players like the cold? Question mark. And he says, I'm telling you, I played there week 9, 2 years. It's a different kind of cold. I said, I'm just messing with you.
It's at DeWitt, though, isn't it?
No,
at DeWitt.
It's at DeWitt.
Is it at DeWitt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had it at Gravett, too.
No, it's at DeWitt.
Let's refer to the bracket. What is this, 4?
Yeah, 4A.
4A.
It wouldn't change my thought on the pick of the game, but I just think Red Hilger's too good at quarterback. And
it's got Gravett.
It's done really good this year.
It's got Gravett on the top of the bracket.
It's at Gravett.
It is?
Yeah.
It's at Gravett. All right, then.
All right. I still got DeWitt by 3.
Well, I'm just telling you guys, apparently it is colder in Gravett than anywhere in the United States on Friday night.
All right, number 14, McGee at Gosnell. I've got McGee by 3.
I got McGee by 8.
So this is like game of the week to me in Class 4A. It's really intriguing. McGee may just now be getting fresh considering they didn't play for 5 weeks. I know they didn't play for 3, but I like the Williams brothers. They're going to pull it out by 2. Pirates roll.
So you're going with Gosnell, okay?
Yeah,
I like it. Dusty has Gosnell by 8, so we're split up here.
All right, number 15, Gentry at Rivercrest. I've got Rivercrest by 7 in this one.
I got Rivercrest by 17.
Yeah, I got Rivercrest by 13. I think the Gentry Pioneers have had a easy early schedule, and it just they're about to hit the end, guys.
Yeah, and Dusty has Rivercrest by 14.
Number 16, Ashdown at Lone Oak, and I've got Ashdown in this one by 1.
Oh, I just knew I was going to be on the Lone Island on this one. I've got Ashdown by 3.
I've got Lone Oak by 6. People don't realize how physical Lone Oak really is, and I don't think Ashdown is as good as they should have been this year.
Yeah.
No, they've definitely underperformed. Yeah. Dusty has Lone Oak by 10.
All right, so number 17, Nashville at Bauxite. I've got Nashville by 13.
I have Nashville by 8.
I got Nashville by 10.
And Dusty has them by 8.
And number 18, Riverview at Lamar. I've got Lamar by 24.
I got Lamar by 18.
I got Lamar by 28.
And Dusty has them by 35.
Tell us how you really feel, Dusty. Number 19, Magnolia at Robinson. I think this is going to be a lot closer ball game than a lot of people think. I think that that running game for Magnolia is going to give Robinson some trouble, but I do have the Senators by 3.
I've got Magnolia by 3.
Wow.
Look at you.
Yes, sir.
I know Coach talked to Coach Escola earlier this week. He knows Magnolia's good. They have their on the radar this week. So I think they'll be really prepared. And I think Robinson has the speed that Camden and Hot Springs had that gave Magnolia fits. So I'm going Robinson by 6.
And Dusty's got Robinson by 15. Do you know if they're getting anyone back this week?
Yes, they should.
Okay. Interesting you say that.
We'll go on to the next game. Number 20, Batesville at Prairie Grove. I've got Prairie Grove by 13.
I got Prairie Grove by 9.
Prairie Grove by 14.
And Dusty has Batesville by 7. He is a Batesville guy.
He's picking with his heart on that one.
He is. Prairie Grove, I'm telling you,
Dusty
they're my
wants
sleeper.
to mow. He wants to mow.
He
wants
does.
to mow.
He does.
This game I do not have picked on my sheet. It is Harrison at Wynn, and I am going to go with the West. I'm going to stay with my love here with the West. I'm going Harrison by 1 in this one.
Man, I went back and forth, but I ended up going with Wynn by 3.
Yeah, this will be the only game that the 5A East wins, so I'm going with Win by 6.
I agree with you 100% there. And Dusty has Harrison by 7.
Number 22, Farmington at Valley View. I've got Farmington by 10.
I got Farmington by 14.
Yeah, I got Farmington by 13.
And Dusty has Farmington by 14.
And that's a 4 seed that was a unanimous pick over the 1 seed.
By double digits.
Yeah. Number 23.
Never count out J.R. Eldridge in the playoffs.
That's what Dusty says.
That's right. Number 23, Hot Springs at Mills. I've got Mills in this one by 3.
I got Hot Springs by 2. I'm picking the upset.
Yeah, I've been told I can't go against my alma mater anymore this year, or they're going to vote me off the island. So I've got Mills by 6.
Hey, Mills is getting to play ball this week, so you never know.
Yeah.
Dusty,
All that matters.
Dusty's play got Mills by 6.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think the big deal in that one is Jabrae Shaw's getting to play a lot more offense now.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, he had
Dude
5.
went off.
He went off. He sure
Yeah.
did.
Here, let's get him the ball as much as possible. That's a great game plan right there.
Yeah. Yeah, let's give that guy the ball.
Number 24, Russellville at West Memphis. I'm going Russellville in this one by 6.
Boy, I almost did, man. I'm telling you, I went back and forth, but I remember the Russellville Greenbrier game.
I know.
I'm going West Memphis by 10.
Yeah, I've got West Memphis by 7. I'm kind of like you. Russellville's good, really good running game. I love the kid back there, Tracy Daniels. West Memphis is just too good. They're going to get over the Cersei hangover that they lost this past week. Which it could be a similar game. If you compare D.D. Johnson to Tracy Daniels in the backfield, they're two really good backs.
Yeah.
I think West Memphis is not going to get caught sleeping.
Man, when I watched them play Greenbrier, he was the only thing I thought they had offensively.
I'm just basing it on
Yeah,
West
he
Memphis.
is.
West Memphis they've heard basketballs bouncing.
Yeah. That tends to happen over there.
All right. Well, who did Dusty go with in that one?
Dusty went with West Memphis by 7.
Dog, I'm on the island. That doesn't make me feel very good about my pick. All right, number 25, Cersei at Lake Hamilton. I'm going Lake Hamilton by 14.
Let me tell you, I've got Lake Hamilton by 8, but I'm going to tell you, this could be it's an interesting matchup. Let me just say that.
It is an interesting matchup because you want to say Christian may have Lake Hamilton may have a little bit of a hangover coming off of the last couple of weeks. But I think they win by 20.
But they're one, and we haven't really seen it be a weakness, but potentially a big weakness for them would be speed, and that's what they're going to see. How much you got Lake Hamilton by?
20,
and Dusty's got them by 14.
All right, number 26, El Dorado, the defending 6A state champions, will take on Little Rock Christian, who beat Greenwood last week. Got Little Rock Christian by 14.
They are just a Shamar Rester away from this being a game. I got Little Rock Christian by 16.
Yeah, freshman from El Dorado starts at quarterback last week against Jacksonville. I'm going to tell you something, young man. Going to Little Rock Christian is not the same as Jacksonville. I'm all in your corner for the next 3 years. The Wildcats will have a great future, but Little Rock Christian's going to take this one by 2 scores, 14 points.
Dusty's got him by 10.
So you said El Dorado started a freshman at quarterback?
Yeah, they're going to start Mitchell Polk at quarterback again.
Okay.
He had a great game.
Yeah.
All right, number 27, Mountain Home at Marion. I've got Marion in this one by 13.
I got Marion by 12.
Man, that's scary. I got Marion by 12 as well. Donnie Shears may be the difference in this one. He's been the difference all year.
Dusty's got Marion by 9.
Number 28, Fort Smith's Northside at Rogers. I've got Rogers by 7. I think Northside's going to be a little bit more physical than Rogers is used to playing and keep it close.
I got Rogers by 16.
I got Rogers by 13, and Northside, they've been kind of up and down all year.
Mm-hmm.
Rogers showed they have a few more weapons in the bag than what people thought.
Yeah.
They might rush for 6 million yards on Friday.
That's right. Dusty's got him by 3.
Okay. Fort Smith Southside at North Little Rock. I've got North Little Rock by 13.
I got North Little Rock by 17.
I got North Little Rock by 18.
Dusty's got him by 35, but that sounds like a lot on this game.
And number 30, our last pick of the Week 1 playoffs. I've got Jonesboro going to Bentonville West. I've got Bentonville West by 17.
I have West by 8.
I've got Bentonville West by 13, and I know Jonesboro's playing a lot better of late, but they just don't have it this week.
Did you say 13 or 18?
13.
Dusty again picked 35 in this one. I just can't see that, but
that's the reason he's in last place.
That's right.
All right, so now we're going to have a little fun and pick our final 4 for each classification, and I will start first in 2A. I've got Carlisle taking on Des Arc and Dirks taking on Hazen.
Well, I have Bigelow taking on Mount Ida and EPC taking on Hazen. We could bear the only one match.
All right, let's see here. Hold on, I was looking. So I've got on the top, I've got Carlisle and Des Arc. And then on the bottom, I have Hazen and EPC.
All right, so you and Junk were in same on EPC.
Yeah.
I've got
great draw.
Yeah. I've got Carlisle and Hazen in a repeat for the finals with Hazen winning it all.
I got Bigelow and Hazen with Hazen winning it.
All right, so 3A, I've got my final 4 on the top. I've got Melbourne coming out of that one to take on Boonville. And then on the other side, I've got Prescott taking on Charleston.
Well, did you say Melbourne, Boonville, and Prescott, Charleston? That's what I've got too. But my finals, I think, is what's going to surprise everybody. What do you have, Kevin?
We're all in sync on this one. I've got Melbourne and then Boonville. Yes. Sorry, I'm going through the bracket as we speak. And then Prescott and Charleston on the bottom.
And I've got Boonville and Prescott in the finals with Prescott winning it all.
I've got Melbourne and Charleston in the finals with Charleston winning it all.
What?
Woo!
You're going against your man Glass?
I love it. Listen, I love them, and I think they're good, but I don't know that anybody has an answer for Scott and that offense at Charleston.
We're going to get to find out, I think.
I think Prescott's got the horses to do it, just athletic-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I do agree, Scott, and that system that they got up there, he's been very efficient this year. The interesting one up top, I'm with you with Melbourne. I'm a Stu Smith fan, have been for the last 23 years. All the time I've known him from baseball. Their program this year was set back so far when they had 8 starters or players that were going to play. Moved to ICC, and they didn't know what they were going to do. But
didn't some go to Batesville too?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you got Carter Bray and the Wren boys, how can you go against them?
Yeah. They're fun to watch.
So y'all both think Melbourne will beat Boonville?
A lot of fun to watch.
I do. And the funny thing is there's nothing flashy about watching them.
Yeah.
They're just not flashy.
Yeah.
But they just make plays.
Sure. All right, 4A, I've got Harding Academy and Arkadelphia. Man, that's a shame that won't be a final, the final 2 there on that side. And then I've got Pocahontas and Malvern.
Well, I do like the way this shapes up in the final, but I do have Harding, Arkadelphia, Pocahontas, and Warren.
So, let's see here. So, we've got I'm with you on the top. I got Harding Academy and Arkadeau.
Who'd you have?
And the top of that bracket. I mean, that's a really good draw for Pocahontas.
It really
is.
I mean, Lincoln, Nashville. This ain't your mama's Nashville.
No, it's not.
So,
it ain't.
Yeah, I mean, I think Arkadelphia exposed some stuff last week, so I'm going to go Pocahontas and Warren on the bottom.
Okay. I've got Arkadelphia and Pocahontas in the finals with Arkadelphia winning.
I got Arkadelphia beating Warren in the finals.
Okay.
I got Arkadelphia beating Warren also in the final.
I like it.
Who did you have in 2A in the finals? We didn't hear that.
I got Carlisle and Hazen again, and Hazen we'll take it to him once again.
2 full halves of Luke King.
Yeah.
That's right. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So 5A, we've got we talked about this, Kevin. This to me is my favorite bracket. Just there's the first round.
Always is, isn't it?
They're
guys?
just so many good matchups.
It's the first classification and the largest classification that has 16 teams. So you don't have byes. You got to go 4 full games, and usually they're all dogfights.
That's right.
You look at some of the 4 seeds this year. You got Magnolia. You got, Morrilton. They are who they are. But you got Farmington.
Yeah.
And Nettleton was in the race for the East right there at the end. Now they got to go to Shiloh. So I think it's a great. It's always a lot of fun to use some intriguing matchups in the first round. Mills, Hot Springs, even Camden and Bologna. That's 2 contrasting styles, so to speak. And then can the East win again?
Bologna was the only team in this entire first round that did not end up in our top 10 at some point in the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually I didn't pick the East to win a single game, Kevin. That may be my West bias from being from Greenbrier. But
Win being the only one.
Win was the only one I could feel comfortable about sleeping tonight.
Yeah.
Knowing that, Harrison's good. I'm a big Chris Keelan fan.
Me too.
But I think Win is too much.
But and here's what I keep going back to in the back of my mind when I think of Win in the East is that Magnolia beatdown earlier in the year.
Yeah. So I've got my final 4. I've got Robinson and Parkview and Farmington and Shiloh.
I got Prairie Grove, Parkview, Farmington, Shiloh.
We went different on this one. I got Robinson and Parkview on the top, and then I got Camden and Shiloh on the bottom.
Yeah.
That wouldn't shock me.
Well, Prairie Grove made it on mine because Magnolia knocked off Robinson the first round, remember?
That's right. And I've got
that better happen.
Yeah, because I don't like Prairie Grove against Robinson. I'll be honest with you.
I've got Parkview and Shiloh in the finals with Parkview winning it all.
I got Parkview, Shiloh. Man, I wanted to pick Shiloh, but I picked Parkview.
Yeah, I've got Parkview and Shiloh as well, and I'm not ready to name a state title winner yet.
There you go. I tell you what,
that'll be a good ball game.
Last year, I think back to last year, the Shiloh.
Arkadelphia.
No, Shiloh.
Robinson.
In the finals. It wasn't even close. No. And I'm afraid that physicality and speed could be what Shiloh sees this year.
Yeah.
Guys, I was down there on field level, and we had talked about that game leading up to it. And, I talked to Barry a little bit before the game and coaches around the state, and they were like, Robinson will win that game by 3 touchdowns. They just of how physical, especially when they saw Arkadelphia should have beat Shiloh in the semi.
Yeah, should have.
And they just said that Robinson's got too much, and you'll see it, especially up front in the trenches. Yeah. It'll be a difference maker. So it's not like, Parkview's got the younger guys this year, and Shiloh has the experience. But I think Parkview just has too much for them. And
it was interesting watching that game on TV because Caden Henley made so many plays, but it was just like he was the only one out there that
he had to.
That's right.
Yeah.
He was the only one that physically could match up with what they had.
Yeah. They just out-schemed them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 6A we go. So I've got my final 4, Greenwood and Benton and Little Rock Catholic and PA.
I got Greenwood, Lake Hamilton, Catholic, and PA.
All right. Y'all don't play this for John Fogelman where you can hear it. Or a couple of the guys that I coached baseball in the summer with. So I've got Greenwood and Benton on the top. That's pretty much a given right there. Even though I think Lake Hamilton and Benton will be one heck of a second round matchup.
Yeah.
I think Little Rock Christian will get by Catholic and match up with PA in the final. So you'll have, of course, 3 from the West and 1 from the East.
Mm-hmm. And that's the deal with me on Catholic. I haven't got to see them play.
Y'all just keep treating them like the stepchild.
I
When are they going to be good enough for y'all?
I picked them. I did pick PA to beat them.
I did too.
So, yeah, I've got PA and Greenwood matching up again in the finals, and I've got PA winning it.
I think PA is the best team in 6A. I do, with the healthy Kel Busby.
Yeah.
And I think with a healthy Hunter Houston and a healthy Kel Busby, that PA's got the edge. Mm-hmm. And so I've got Greenwood PA in the finals with PA winning.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. It would have been interesting to see last week if Kel would have finished the game. And, of course, they'd gotten down a little bit, 2 weeks ago. And then all I heard from the PA people was they could not believe that Little Rock Christian rolled up on Greenwood like they did. They thought just the physicalness between both those teams, that just how much of a difference there was. So, Greenwood Benton's going to be a track meet, so watch out. Benton, went 5 straight games of scoring 50-plus points. Then last week they shut it down at half, only scoring 36 against Sheridan. That could be one to watch right there. So I'm with y'all with Greenwood and PA.
I think Greenwood has a tendency to not be the same team and not be the same team every Friday night. We played them close for half it in Greenbrier, a team that shouldn't have been on the same field with them. And then the next week,
Van Buren the same way.
That's right. That was the week before us. Yeah. And then the next week they go down to Lake Hamilton and just blow the doors off of them. And so at Russellville played them really close.
But I'm gonna tell you, I watched most of that Christian and Greenwood game, and Christian just ran it down their throat. Yeah. I mean, they ran it how they wanted to and when they wanted to.
And that goes back to that defense you talk about, Matt.
That's right. I was not impressed.
No, we put 21 on them in a half.
Yeah. So I think, like you said, Kevin, that Benton rushing attack will be a test for Greenwood's defense.
So there you go, Greenwood. There's your pump up of the week.
All right, and then 7A state playoffs, I have Bryant and Conway and Bentonville and Cabot. I think that pretty much unanimous, isn't it?
Yeah, ditto.
So I struggled with this, like, for real. I mean, I'm being serious about this because three of those guys, I got Bryant, Fayetteville, and Cabot. But I know Bentonville is going to be more physical, and they'll out-coach on Little Rock. It kind of worries me a little bit just because it is Bentonville, and I don't think they're the Bentonville of yesteryear.
Right.
But yeah, I could see. I had the same Final Four. I got Bryant, Fayetteville, Bentonville, and Cabot with Bryant and Cabot in the finals.
But you got Bryant.
Don't overlook Fayetteville.
You got Bryant and Fayetteville though, not Conway, right?
Yeah, I got Bryant and Fayetteville. Sorry. Yeah, I got Bryant and Fayetteville.
Well, my finals are going to shock you, or probably not. But I've got Conway upsetting Bryant in the semis and playing Cabot in the finals.
Didn't you say you were there Saturday?
I was.
Okay, just wondered.
I was. And I've got Conway winning it all.
I got Bryant and Cabot and Bryant winning it all.
Ho hum.
Yeah, I got Bryant and Cabot in the finals. That's going to be another slobber knocker, physical game. Bryant winning it all.
Yep. You working on a big loan or something with Conway High School?
No. I just want to see somebody else win it. I'm tired of seeing Bryant win it.
I know it, but my gosh.
They're so good, man. They are.
All right, Kevin. Well, we're going to go through our player stats, so you're welcome to stay, or if you want to go, you're welcome to do that.
I'll go ahead and bounce off. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you later this week.
Have a good night.
All right.
Well, it's just, and then there were two.
And there were the.
This is the old school.
The old school
between the mats.
Between the mats. All right, you want to start us on our player highlights?
Sure. A name familiar to all.
Yeah.
Two of them in a row here. Achilles Ringo at Mills, 20 for 30 for 319 yards, 2 touchdowns, 10 carries, 72 yards, and 1 touchdown. Then Jabray Shaw with Mills, 8 carries, 176 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5 catches, 71 yards, 1 touchdown, 7 tackles and an interception.
Just insane. You got one more there from Mills.
Oh, yeah. QJ King, 5 catches, 137 yards, 1 touchdown.
And in Greenbrier, Mr. Carter McElhaney, what a ball game he had. Had 134 yards rushing. I think it was on like 8 carries. Had 12 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns, and had a 77-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
Yeah, and I didn't know that when I put that down there. Yeah. It's kind of funny to look at him, his stats, and see that much on rushing and so little on receiving. Yeah, because you're just so used to flip-flop.
Sure.
But they've had to use him so differently with the injuries. All right, so at Mineral Springs, KT, Katrivion Thomas, 18 carries, 143 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 conversion. I went to school with his dad.
Oh, did you?
Yep. I saw his granddad Thursday at the game. I went to this game. Evan Irwin, 4 for 9, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 conversion. KJ Hayes, 3 carries, 51 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 reception conversion. And then this kid right here is super impressive to watch. Javion Fricks. He's about 6'5". He's a sophomore. He had 1 catch for 20 yards, 1 touchdown, 6 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 2 hurries or pressures, 1 interception, and 2 pass breakups. And Matt, when I say he broke the pass up, it wasn't bust through the line and just knock it down at the line of scrimmage. The ball was in the air, and he was out 5 yards away and just jumped up and just like he was blocking a shot at the rim.
That's awesome.
It was unreal. Then DeKavion White, and the reason I put him on here, he had a 75-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, but he's a freshman.
That's awesome. Over in Greenwood, Mr. Hunter Houston, 14 of 29 for 159 yards. Kane Archer come in the second half and brought Greenwood back in a ball game that looked like they were going to get blown out. He was 10 of 14 for 173 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also had 6 carries for 46 yards and 2 touchdowns.
It's like Northside 2.0.
It was. It really was. Aiden Kennan from Greenwood, 9 catches, 94 yards. And then, that's all for Greenwood.
Down at guy almost tricked you, didn't he?
He did.
So at Greenland, Max Merritt is 6 for 11, 43 yards passing, 8 carries, 90 yards rushing. Seth Center from Greenland, 15 carries, 124 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. And then Tucker Metters from Greenland, 23 carries, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Fort Smith Southside, Carter Zimmerman, 19 carries, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, and also 2 of 3 passing for 77 yards and a score. And Grayson York, 6 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown.
That quarterback, man, he really had a good game.
He did.
Over at Nashville, another quarterback that's just played well all year long is Sloan Perrin. He had 10 carries for 73 yards, 1 touchdown, 6 for 12 for 65 yards and a touchdown. Trey Hopkins, the back there at Nashville, 24 carries, 84 yards, 3 touchdowns. Dante Gilliam, 4 catches, 52 yards, and 1 touchdown in the scrapper win.
I want to say I saw where Sloan Perrin is getting looked at either by Henderson or OBU.
Yes.
One of the two.
One of the two.
Yeah, I can't remember which one.
I can't remember either. I was down there, this weekend, and somebody told me that, and I can't remember now which one, but you're right. Okay. It is one of the two.
I think it's OBU.
I kind of think it is too, which I'm going to tell you, high school quarterbacks, be a great place to go right now because they don't have much in the way of quarterback. No. And I say that because talking about the number 3 team in the nation.
I know.
I mean, this team will run it down your throat, but watching them in Harding play, watching the passing game was not impressive.
Not at all. Over in Parkview, Cameron Settles, 8 carries for 97 yards and a score. Tavion Haney, 2 pick sixes, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then Montario Elston, 3 catches for 50 yards and a score.
Sylvan Hills, Dusty Country, Dylan Harris, 16 carries, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Over in Stuttgart, Deontay Clark, 16 carries, 106 yards, 3 scores. Cedric Hawkins, what a ball game he's had. What a year he's had. 111 total yards with 1 score.
Cade Yates at Mountain Home, 7 for 11, 136 yards, 1 touchdown. Brady Barnett, 4 catches, 101 yards, 1 touchdown, 10 carries, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jaden Cheney, 20 carries, 136 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 catches for 35 yards.
In Fayetteville, Drake Lindsay, 31 of 41 for 415 yards and 5 touchdowns.
He's doing this every week.
That's pretty impressive.
Every single week.
And then Kylan Morris had 15 catches out of that for 217 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then Jason Delamar, 7 catches for 79 yards and a score. And then J.J. is it Harjo?
I would guess Harjo.
15 carries, 105 yards.
So, which one's more impressive of those two?
They're both.
How do you pick a
Yeah,
difference?
they're both really impressive.
Wow. Josh Ficklin, back over at Bentonville, 205 yards on 34 carries, 3 touchdowns.
You talk about a workhorse.
Yeah, he is.
Sam Sanders from Catholic led them to an undefeated season this year, 14 of 22, 190 yards and a score, and Dominic Keaton, 14 carries for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns.
The red-headed Catholic stepchildren. Keelan Mills from West Memphis, 14 for 25, 153 yards passing, 11 carries, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns.
In Benton, Klein Hooten, 18 of 24, 191 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, and Chris Bernard, 8 carries, 129 yards and 1 score.
All right, down in El Dorado, Mitchell Polk, the freshman, 4 for 5, 111 yards, 3 touchdowns. Carried the ball 4 times for 46 yards. Apparently he can scramble a little bit too. DeAndre Burns, El Dorado, 3 catches, 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. 3 punt returns for 117 yards and 1 touchdown.
In Hot Springs, Matthew Contreras, the quarterback there, 19 of 28, 352 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8 carries for 37 yards. Octavius Rhodes, 8 catches, 190 yards and a score. And Derek Hicks, 5 catches, 130 yards and 1 touchdown.
And at Pocahontas, your future touchdown record holder,
That's right.
Connor Baker, 4 for 4 passing, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns, 23 carries, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Harrison Carter at Pocahontas, 3 catches, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns.
In Melbourne, Trey Wren, 13 of 16 for 116 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 8 carries for 96 yards. And then Robert Langston, 11 carries, 89 yards, 3 touchdowns. And his brother Grant Wren, 1 carry for 73 yards and a score, and 4 catches for 23 yards and a touchdown.
You know what's funny about that is Carter Braid didn't even really have stats.
Right. Yeah. That's unusual.
That is. T.J. Bell at Osceola, 9 for 14, 178 yards, 5 touchdowns. And Keenan Jackson at Osceola, 4 catches, 121 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Little Rock Christian, Mr. Walker White, had 175 yards passing with 2 touchdowns, but more impressively, he had 161 yards rushing and 2 scores on the ground, and he ran the ball hard that night.
Yeah, well, look at the one behind him.
Yeah,
too.
Ronnie Inoki, a sophomore, 25 carries, 208 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Man, they almost had 400 yards rushing.
Yeah.
On top of the 100.
I'm going to say they probably did because the other kid, I can't remember his name, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, so it's you were done. Smack over DeCallan Hildreth. First time we've said that name this year. We hadn't had many smack over stats.
No.
13 for 20 for the Buckaroo for 242 yards passing. Another Buckaroo is R.J. Boone, 18 carries, 158 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Jarius Bergie, 18 carries, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tanner Mitchell, 10 catches, 166 yards, and 1 touchdown. We always got matched up with that conference in the playoffs. Yeah. So we were either playing the Buckaroos or Camden Harmony Grove every year.
I'll be dang.
And when my senior year, we played Smackover, and Jonathan Monica was the quarterback.
Is that right?
Yeah, Pookie.
I'll be dang. All right, in Gosnell, you got Floyd Williams, who had 8 carries for 71 yards and 3 touchdowns. Cameron Williams, 5 catches, 105 yards, a score, and a pick 6. And that's it for Gosnell.
Yeah, Jason Sullivan, Carlisle, running back, 26 carries, 159 yards and 1 touchdown. And I hear he took one straight at Luke King.
Speaking of Luke King, he was 6 of 9 for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns in the second half. And then Braylon Anderson, 15 carries for 107 yards and a score.
Man, I wish I could have been there Friday night.
Me too.
There's such good athletes on both sides of that ball. Karsten Poole, speaking of athlete, the Prescott Curly Wolf was 6 for 13 for 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Jalen Johnson, get this, 72-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. If I read the stats right, 1 carry for 25 yards and a touchdown. 1 catch for 38 yards and a touchdown. So he had 3 plays for 3 touchdowns.
That's awesome. And scored 3 different ways.
Yeah.
And get this stat. The stat of
the night,
the week. Dennis Gaines, East Poinsett County, 33 carries for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. And, oh, by the way, if he wasn't tired enough by running at 400 yards, He had 8 tackles on defense.
In the biggest game of their season.
That's right. That's just incredible.
Wow. B.J. Curry, speaking of incredible, from Magnolia, 11 carries for 307 yards and 5 touchdowns.
That's almost more impressive because of
he did it on a third of the carries.
Yards per carry.
Yeah.
D.D. Johnson and Searcy, 34 carries for 280 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 2 sacks.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. I didn't realize that D.D. was a defensive guy.
I didn't either.
But 2 sacks on top of that night. 200, or how much was he? 280, man. Yeah. All right, so Jamarion Byrd, Lake Hamilton, 14 tackles. More impressively, 4 sacks.
That's awesome. Jacob Jenkins and Rogers, 25 carries, 356 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
That's impressive. All right, Shiloh Christians, Eli Wisdom, 8 for 13 for 133 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 carries, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kid's just unreal.
He's incredible.
Bo Williams, 11 carries, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Bodie Neal, 3 catches, 46 yards, 1 touchdown. Hey, Eli hit the 7,000 club, was it?
Is that right?
Isn't that right earlier this year?
I'm not sure. I didn't see it.
Was it 7,000? That's a lot.
It's a lot, but
5,000
he started since he was a sophomore.
Yeah, but I just wondered if because he was in a really small group of people.
Gotcha.
And I just wonder if they go 3 or 4, 5 games.
Yeah, he might break it.
You hit 300 a game or 200 a game for 5 games.
Yeah.
You got it. That was a couple of weeks ago he hit that. So you got to figure
I'll be done.
He could hit another 1,000.
That's awesome. Over in Malvern, Jalen Dupree, 17 carries for 102 yards, 2 catches for 26 yards, and Cedric Simmons was 10 of 20 for 138 yards and a score, and 10 carries for 31 yards.
And then to finish it up from Arkadelphia in the Conference Championship.
On Saturday.
Donovan Witten, 13 for 20, 232 yards, 3 touchdowns, throwing the football. And then 44 yards on 7 carries for another touchdown.
That's awesome. And that will wrap us up for our player highlights for Week 10 to wrap up the regular season. Junk, who are our players of the week?
The Week 10 players of the week. Final regular season, week of regular season. In 2A, take a guess.
I don't think there's many that would go against this one.
No, Dennis Gaines, 400 yards, EPC. 3A, now this is one we haven't seen yet. RJ Boone from Smackover with a great game there with 158 yards and 3 touchdowns. 4A's Donovan Witten, second time we've seen him up there. But when a guy goes out and has 4 touchdowns and those kind of numbers against the conference championship.
Yeah.
Number 5A. Now, this one was tough because you did have Jabari Shaw, and you could almost split it with him. But we went with B.J. Curry, that 307 yards, 5 touchdowns on 11 carries.
Yeah, and Eli Wisdom had a heck of a week too in 5A.
He did. But, I mean, he's almost 30 yards a carry.
That's insane. That's nuts.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
6A, D.D. Johnson over in Searcy. As we mentioned him, he not only did it on the offensive side with his 280 yards and 5 touchdowns, but also had 2 sacks. And then from Fayetteville, and this was a tough one too because
between him and his quarterback.
Yes, you had him and his quarterback both, and then the kid from Rogers with 356 yards. Yeah. But Kalen Morris, the receiver, with 15 catches from Fayetteville.
There's not many receivers that have had 15 catches in a ball game.
And then on top of that, he had 15 catches for it's over 200 yards.
Yeah.
So great games for those guys. 217.
Well, unfortunately, we have to talk some college talk now.
Man, we're right at the end of this. I mean, we're good.
Can we cut it off?
Yeah.
Dead
Here, let's just say. I know what we can do. We can just say that. Quincy McAdoo had a great game.
He did have a great game. Yeah, I've got here on my notes. What do you say? I mean, really, what?
It's disappointing.
It's very disappointing. I mean, for a team to be. I just thought, as a Razorback fan, I thought we were past that. I really did.
Yeah.
And that, everybody's like, well, they're number 23 in the country. Listen, they're not on the same playing field as Arkansas. They're not, and we should not lose that ball.
Well, that team that played in the fourth quarter for Arkansas would have beat that team by 3 scores.
That's right. It just what really blew my mind was how our offensive line got absolutely dominated.
And that's been the one consistent spot on the team this year.
Yes.
But they didn't show up.
They didn't show up. And I get it. KJ wasn't 100%, and he didn't play his best game, but that's no excuse.
I'll tell you, hats off to that D-line. Mm-hmm. Boy, they got after our rear ends.
They did. We had 14 negative plays in that game. 10 tackles for loss and 4 sacks.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is incredible. And then we got a quarterback who probably shouldn't even be playing.
That's right.
He's on another planet that day. Yeah. Nothing against him. I mean,
just had a bad day.
Well, and I think he was hurt.
He's hurt, yeah.
It's just kind of turned into
just a bad
debacle.
Taste. Yeah.
But I'm still on the Sam train.
Yeah, without a doubt. They unfortunately or fortunately, either way you want to look at it, do take on number 7 LSU in Fayetteville at 11 o'clock. So you got to get up early to get to that one. I will say I do think we'll play inspired this week, and I think that LSU will have a little bit of a hangover.
It's a trap game for them.
It is. It really is. And so I think
Arkansas is always a trap game for them.
We've always played them well.
Always. And I'm gonna tell you, I thought that, and I didn't just think. I know that I can't stand Jimbo Fisher, but Brian Kelly just makes me want to throw up. And here's the difference: is I can look at Jimbo Fisher and say, "Man, I can't stand that guy," and he's terrible.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly's good.
He's a good coach.
I mean, I can't stand him, and he's good.
Yeah.
He just wins.
That's right. All right, UCA, man, they took one on the chin, lost to Eastern Kentucky 42-14. They didn't have their workhorse, Darius Hill. Their top running back was out with an injury.
Do you know how long? I've heard it could be.
I think it's a hamstring. So
yeah.
It's not good.
No.
McElvain, they just couldn't get the offense going. He was 7 of 22 for 94 yards, threw 2 picks. Defense gave up close to 500 yards. Just wasn't a good game on the road for the Bears. Here's the good thing. They still got a chance to win the conference.
They were in this first loss.
They're 3-1. Eastern Kentucky has 1 loss, and Jacksonville State is undefeated. And Eastern Kentucky and Jacksonville State play this week.
Does UCA play this week?
Yeah, but they're out of conference.
Oh, okay.
So they need
Weird schedule this week.
Yeah, they need Jacksonville State to win that game, and then they play Jacksonville State the last week. And if they beat them, they'd win the conference. So it'd be good.
Or they could end up with a
three-way tie. That's right. And number 3, OBU beat Southeastern Oklahoma 40-18. They'll take on Henderson State in the Battle of the Ravine this Saturday.
I might be a little overthinking this, but I think that could be a game.
Hey, Henderson's got ranked this week. They're in the top 25, so it'll be a good matchup, as it always is.
When Harding played Henderson, Harding had a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
Playing a lot of freshmen.
Sure.
And they slipped up several mistakes, got them beat. But
Henderson,
it still took a team that had to beat them.
That's right.
And that means Henderson's got a football team.
Yeah. Do you know if this one's at Henderson or OBU? I forgot to look.
I don't know. It's going to be down there in Arkadelphia.
Yeah, it is going to be in Arkadelphia. And number 17, Harding beat Southwestern Oklahoma 37-29.
It was close.
Yeah, and they'll take on the Wonder Boys this Saturday.
They were behind. It was 29-23 or 24. Harding scored to go ahead and then scored another time or two.
I got you. So I looked at the regional rankings, and if I'm not mistaken, they've got Harding ranked at 8th. Do they get in at 8? They take 8. Is it 6?
I think it's 6.
Okay. So there's 20.
But I don't know, man. It's been a long time since I played,
Yeah.
and that's when they started taking 6 my junior or senior year. It may be 8 now.
I don't know.
I'll have to look.
They rank them through 10.
I know you rarely see a team with 2 losses make it.
Yeah, gotcha.
But especially in that Missouri conference, there's been some shakeup this year.
There has been, for sure.
So
Pitt State went undefeated, which is incredible.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Well, they got 1 game left, but they've got it wrapped up.
But then Northwest Missouri, UCO beat them.
Yeah.
So there may be some 2-loss teams that slip in this year.
Sure. And then Arkansas State had the week off. They play UMass at home this Saturday at 2:00, and they are 2-7 on the season.
Womp womp.
All right, my man. It's going to be
longest show ever.
Is it?
But here's the deal. We apologize for the lengthiness. You're welcome for the great content. Just kidding.
Just break it up in 2
but
sessions.
Here's the deal. We had a lot to talk about.
We did.
Next week will be half this long because it's half the teams.
That's right. And Between the Mats is splitting up this week. Junk Vegas is going
yeah.
to Mineral Springs, Carlisle, and I'll be going to Lone Oak and Ashdown. So
Yeah. So we're going to be
out and about.
out and about this week, and it's going to be exciting.
It is.
You know, obviously I'm pulling for the Hornets, but you know, if Carlisle wins, I'll be pulling for them from now on.
Sure.
But there you go, Caleb Shock. I love you, man. It's my team, my hometown. But if you win, I'm still pulling for you.
That's right. All right, we'll check you next
All
week.
right, later on.
You've been listening to Between the Mats, your year-round source for Arkansas high school sports with Matt McJunkins and Matt Wilcox. Produced by Carl Spears, and special thanks to our sponsor, American Safeguard Insurance. I'm JB Brazil. Be sure to join us next week for another episode of Between the Mats.